Hey there, Jean here again. Over the last couple of days, I've been working a little bit more on my space shooter project. I've been embellishing a little bit the sound design, have been mixing a little bit the overall volume and the overall feel of the game. And I wanted to share a little bit with you guys about that as well. So right off the bat, one of the things that I've added was dialogue. So as you can see here, I have a VO announcer,
Mission end.
which is triggered by a switch uh, telling you that it's either end or the
Mission start.
start of the mission. I've added a couple more of assets in terms of explosions to add a little bit more variation that you will hopefully be able to see. I've added a couple more of events as well and a little bit more of RTPCs that I'll go over in some detail. All right, so let's first listen to the game and see how it's working.
Mission start.
So right off the bat, we can see that there's a little bit more of variation in the asteroids, and we have the voice starting. A little bit more of variation being set by not only pitch and volume, but by real assets. So a little bit more of destruction as well in the players, a little bit pitch, a little bit of tempo variation as well in the destruction. Not much, but it's subtle enough to see a little bit of difference. Also, when the player dies, and I'm just going to wait for a ship. As you can see, the ship now is kind of like muffled, so that it just doesn't mix in with the music that is also muffled, but especially with the ending voice. So as soon as I restart, we have
Mission start.
my music going back to the non-low pass version, and we're ready for a new round of asteroid and enemy destroying.
Mission
All right.
end.
So most of the stuff that I did was added on script. For example, here you can see, if you remember, I used the player tilt with the X tilt float here that is managing the rotation of the ship when it's going left or right. So it's changing the pitch there, and the player acceleration is also increasing a little bit the pitch, but I'll show you in a little bit as well. Other stuff that I changed was adding the play status. So either start or end, it's setting this switch on void awake and void on trigger enter. So every time that something hits the player, we're going to have a change in our in both our state and our switch. Also on the enemies as well, I added a couple of RTPC change as well. This specific one was for the volume, and here you can see that for the enemy, I'm using a RTPC to set the volume on the location of the enemy inside the game field. So I wanted to give a little bit more of attention to the player when the enemy appears, and gradually losing that attention. And as it's reaching the proximity to the player, we want to lose that attention again when it's going away and we didn't destroy it. So since it's a very vertical motion, I use this voice RTPC change. One of the things that it's hard to do is the mixing. And of course, you can do mixing by using the mixing desk here. And I've used a little bit to set up my music, to balance my explosions with adding a little bit of reverb as well, my enemies as well, my player, everything. So I kind of like use the mixing desk a little bit as a pre-mixer for each of my individual actor mixers. I divided everything into dialogue, SFX, and music inside the master audio bus, so that I could not only add reverbs, individual reverbs that I wanted, but also so that I could use the Wwise metering system. So I used, instead of ducking, I prefer using the Wwise meters because it kind of like feels a little bit more like in music when you're using bass and kick drum sidechain. It kind of like ducks a little bit, but not too much. So in the ducking effect on Wwise, in my opinion, just works a little bit more aggressively, and I just wanted very, very smooth changes in volume. So one of the things that I usually do, and this is just one way of preferring how to do things, is by remotely connecting while I'm playing the game. So let's say I'm playing and I want to remotely connect to my game and see how the volumes are working together. So I'm connecting both, and now I have both working in my gameplay. So that's cool. So that helps a lot for me to just say, hey, I just want to listen to my player. So right now, yeah, I'm just listening to my player and I'm not listening to anything else. And if you remember me saying about the player boost, this is what I was talking about. So let me just unsolo this one. And what's happening is that every time it's tilting, we have this very slow kind of like air release on the ship, so that it's just kind of like faintly telling us that we are in fact moving. So for example, on the engine, so let's just unmute everything. So just on the engine, for example, we have here the engine starting, and now it's changing pitch. If I go forward, it gets a little bit higher pitch, lower pitch. If I go backwards, if it's destroyed in this situation, it's not longer playing. But I managed all those changes in pitch by RTPC. So let's just go with the. So every time that the player is tilting, we have that cool air release. And it's just there. It may sound a little bit abrasive right now, but it's just there during the gameplay. So it's very, very faint. But if I actually don't think it's faint enough, so I can just go there, and since I'm connecting and changing in real time, I just can put it there in -30. Right now it's a little bit too low, I think, so let's just put this in -28. It's very faint still, but I think that right now it's a little bit better. It's just 1 dB difference, but it's a little bit better. All right, so this is one of the ways that I kind of like working. So I mean, if I think that the enemy's shot is a little bit too low, I just can go here and just change it to 0. And now it's a little bit more aggressive the way that the shot is being instantiated, as you can listen to it. So let's just put it -5 like how it was, because I liked it that way. The explosions are cool. And as you can see in, where was it? I think it's right there. Was it effects? Where was it? Oh yeah. So we can see here as well that
Mission start.
When we have the voice play, it's RTPCing, or in this situation, it's kind of like making that side chain to all the other buses. So this is the SFX sidechain bus, and this is the music sidechain bus being ducked a little bit when the music is actually playing. So yeah, so I just wanted to go a little bit over how I kind of like add a little bit more of entertainment factor to the game. So I mean, if you've done the original Unity space shooter tutorial, they give you their assets, their audio assets, the shots and the explosions and everything. But here it's also a good opportunity not only to just improve your sound design, but as well as to reinvent the sound design for a game. So I mean, they didn't have those mission start and mission end, but I kind of like felt that I needed to. And the only thing that I did was just go to Google Translate and write mission and start and end, and just re-record it into my computer and just edit it a little bit. So if you don't have an actor for a kind of like robotic voice, you can always use Google Translator. Other than that, I mean, this was just a couple of days of work, just going over it a few hours every day, just fixing bugs in the code, because they always appear. I mean, for example, earlier I was having a trouble here in player controller because I had a space there, and this change in pitch that I had set here in my player engine, this one here, that is changing with the acceleration, so going forward or backward in the gaming area, wasn't working, and I just couldn't, for the life of me, I just couldn't find it until I actually saw that there was a space there. So bugs are always there, and they are very, very annoying if you don't find them in time, or if you take too long to find them. And sometimes it's just very, very simple stuff happening. So it's a process of work and a process of patience and trial error, debugging, playing, going back to Wwise, going back to Mono Develop, or in this case Visual Studio, just going back to your code and seeing if everything is working or not. So I just wanted to make this video to show that there's always stuff that you can do inside a game, and there's always things that we can do to improve our game. The only thing that might be a problem is always when you're lacking space in your sound bank, because your coders are not giving you enough space for you to add all your awesome sounds. So or you don't have enough memory to add them or to play them as you want them to. So just wanted to make this video so that I could show a little bit of what we can do for our gameplay. As always, I encourage you to comment or to send me some feedback, either via YouTube or via email. And I hope you liked it, and I hope this series is still helpful for you. And I hope you have a really good day. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon.